Welcome to Sinfully Good, where today we're doing St. Patrick's Irish Stew. This is what you'll need, and there is a link to a printable recipe in the video description. Start out by cutting up your onions. We're going to cut it in half and then about 3 slices and then cut it down slices. Again, cut your mushrooms into quarters. Make sure you stem them. Add a 1/4 cup of flour to a plastic bag. Salt and pepper, and then kind of shake it up a little bit to get it mixed. Just like that. Now we're adding the meat. Now I used pork on this one, but you can use lamb. I actually got a pork tenderloin and I cut I want to say this and 8 thick chops and 5 thin chops, and then a pork roast out of that one loin. So this cost me about $4 for the stew meat here. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It does help me in the algorithms. I so enjoy sharing my recipes, and I'd like for everybody to get a chance. Now shake to coat, but don't trust that top on that Ziploc bag. I made that mistake and ended up covered in flour. Anyway, go ahead and add some oil to the pan, about a tablespoon, and then put half of the meat into the frying pan and let it sear on all sides. So you're going to see me use tongs here, which I don't normally use for this, but I wanted to make sure I got all the sides, so I'm individually turning them. And you're going to do this if you need to add a little bit more oil after you're done with the first set. Then go ahead and add the oil and then finish up. Then set that meat aside. Then go ahead, last bit of oil, and we're going to add our onions and mushrooms. Stir those in. Let's get those nice and browned, seared, so they're just starting to get soft. They don't have to be completely soft because they're going to cook for a while. We're adding our beer. And scrape the bottom. We want all those bits that are stuck to the bottom on there. That's all flavor, and you want to add that. Go ahead and add your broth and your meat back in with all the juices that might be sitting in that bowl. Stir it up and then cover them. We're going to put it in our 300-degree oven and we're going to cook it for about an hour. The last, I say 20-30 minutes before that part's ready, go ahead and cut your potatoes and carrots. We're going to quarter the potatoes and half the carrots. Now I'm using those little petite baby carrots, so just a half, or you can cut them into about inch-sized pieces. Pull that out of the oven. And we're going to just add those potatoes and carrots. Stir those in and put a top back on it and put it right back in the oven. And that's going to cook for about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the carrots and the potatoes. You want those fork tender. And like I said, right back in that oven for about an hour to an hour and a half. Now, this is optional, this next thing that I'm going to do. I like my gravy nice and thick, so I went ahead and made a cornstarch slurry with about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and about 2 tablespoons of broth, and shook it up in a jar and pulled the top off, poured it in, stirred it up, put the top back on, and let it cook. So the potatoes and carrots are nice and tender here. So I stirred it a little bit and then went ahead and added the parsley and stirred that in and let it set for about 5 minutes. That was all it needed, and then it's totally done. Now I served this with a little bit of Irish soda bread, which I'll give you the recipe here in a bit, but it was really, really good. The pork was so tender, the vegetables were nice, and the flavor was amazing. I'd like to thank you for joining me today in my kitchen for this wonderful Irish stew for St. Patrick's Day. I do hope and pray that you guys have a wonderful St. Patty's Day. And as always, have a blessed evening.